Okay, we are going live. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on where you are in the world. We are excited to have you here with us today. We are here today with a wonderful show of one that's very special to me. So we will get into that one in just a moment. But I just again want to say thank you to those of you who are joining us, especially those of you who are joining us for the very first time. Table Talk with Dr. Allen is designed to just really discuss hot topics, to educate individuals on various topics, whether it's education, whether it's topics that sometimes I pull from my counseling practice and talk about them here on the show. And just sometimes it's parenting information, sometimes it's just what's going on in the world. So again, thank you for being on, and we try to make sure that we keep it to an hour, but sometimes our conversations get so good and sometimes so heated that we last a little longer than that. But we try to make sure that we respect everybody's time, and because we just appreciate you for logging in. So again, my name is Dr. Charlotte Marie Watson Allen, and I am here at Table Talk with Dr. A. So today my guest is very, very special to my heart. I lost my dad on Valentine's Day 11 years ago. And in my book, I talk about how important it is for individuals to have, in many cultures, it's called an EMOD, but really godparents, and really what the role of godparents are. And this guy, I can tell you, along with his wife, I call them Papa Doyle and Mama Betty, have been so very instrumental in my life. They've been around for a long time. They've seen me through my first marriage and divorce, and has seen me now going into my second season of my life. And I tell you what, they have been a godsend to me. So he is now going into a second season of his life, and he is running for an office. Now, he is not in my particular area where I can vote for him, but I wanted to make sure that this was a platform that he could use to get out the word for the position that he is running in. So please welcome to Dr. Allen's platform and Dr. Allen's table, Mr. August Doyle. How are you, Papa Doyle?
Well, Mrs. Allen, thank you for giving me an opportunity to share with some of the voters my views, and looking forward to conversating with you and your guests and all your people on your podcast.
Thank you so much. Well, okay, guys, he's going to keep it very formal. He called me Miss Watson, so I won't call him Papa Doyle. I guess I'll call him Candidate Doyle while he's on the show tonight. So you're running for, or I guess you can tell us what you're running for, and then with that, would you tell us what areas that particular District 3 covers?
Okay, I'm running for District 3, and it covers, if people are familiar with Dallas area, it starts in Singing Hills, which is east of 35, and it is north of 20, and it is south of Loop 12. And it goes from Singing Hills all the way down Camp Wisdom, all the way to the woods, which is, I believe it was Cedar Park or Cedar something. But it goes all the way out almost to 408. It's a big district.
Oh, gotcha. But it's all on the south side, excuse me, the north side of 20. Is that correct?
Yes, north side of 20.
All the way all of that area. So that includes
It goes to Loop 12.
all the way to wow, that's a pretty large area.
It is. It is.
So has that always, okay, so I'm saying this, but let me preface this. So 40 years ago, you also ran for this position. Is that correct?
Yes, but it was the same area, but it was called District 8 then. Since then, they have redistrict, cut the lines different ways, and now it's called District 3.
Gotcha.
But
So is this
basically the same area I ran for 35, 40 years ago.
So what's the difference in then and now?
Is that the area that I want to represent has declined even more since the first time I ran. I mean, it's on a steady decline, and that's one reason why I want to run. Some of the things that we need over here, and if anybody that lives in Dallas know that this part of town has been shorted when it comes to funds and services. So what I'm trying to do is get some equity to get services and revenue to come to the southern part of Dallas.
So when you say that monies have not flowed to this particular area, we can obviously see that. I mean, when we drive, this area is very, and I don't live in that area, but I live very close to that area. And of course, coming to you guys' house and just the church that we both attend, as you are members with Oak Cliff Bible as well, all of that area, we see obviously how the impact that the church has tried to make by revitalizing that, but we also see the decline in the other areas of the roads and the businesses there, and just some of the just the upkeep and the maintenance in those areas. So are those some of the things when you talk about money not flowing to this area? Are those some of the things that you're talking about fighting for? And if not, what are some of those things?
Well, first of all, it's lack of code enforcement. East of 35 is part of the district, and that's the area that's really declining. We don't have any proactive code inspectors. For example, if I call in a complaint about a person with high weed, they would go over there and address that complaint. But he may have 5 cars, junk cars there, and his roof may be caving in, but they don't do anything about that. So we need somebody to be proactive. And then when you talk about code, around 2008, they restructured code. We had a director who wanted code to look just like the police department. Police department got over 4,000 people. Code didn't have but 200. So now we ended up with a bunch of supervisors, area coordinators, and now we have a small amount of inspectors. And that's one problem we have. And I don't know what is the attitude or the climate of thinking in the city is that they feel like we like living like we live. We like junk cars in our yard. We like our fences falling down. So they don't do that in North Dallas. You cannot go to no auto repair shop in North Dallas and see 25 old red cars parked in front. Everything is like southern part of Dallas is a dumping ground. Anything that we don't want, metal reclaiming places, anything that we don't want, we dump it off in the southern part of Dallas. And we don't ever get what we want. We get something that they want to give to us. So we're tired of people giving us stuff. We want to go in and get it ourselves. Like James Brown had a song say, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I get it myself. Well, we want to open up the door and get it ourselves. Now, infrastructure, we have a problem with insufficient number of streetlights, alleys, streets, and businesses. Our businesses dried up. When I first moved here 50 years ago, we had, eating places. We had Bonanza. We had different
I remember Bonanza.
Red Lobster. We had the Langston Key Shopping Center. We had a bowling alley there. We had Sears. We had J.C. Penney.
Yeah, I mean, it was really thriving then.
It was really nice. But another thing that we need in this area is, if you notice, a lot of people are moving to the suburbs. One reason why they move to the suburbs is because our people are not all poor. A lot of Black folks make good money. Hispanics make good money. But when it comes to new house development, they build nothing but scale houses. So if you want a nice size house, 3,000 square foot house, you got to go to the suburbs. If you want a nice park, you have to go to the suburbs. So they're draining our citizens and they're moving to the suburbs because the quality of life is better there than here in the southern part of Dallas. And
Yep.
that's thing. And then businesses, I done figured out that we have begged people to come and develop this area or redevelop it, and it's not going to happen. I worked with my son-in-law, and he is in a business that arrange loans for people. They flip houses, bridge loans, equipment loans, property loans. And I found out that it's easy to get an SBA loan. I waited till I got to the midlife of my life to find out you can get a small business loan with a credit score of less than 600. 600.
Wow.
And, you didn't know that. See, you see people flipping houses on TV, and they say, I'm gonna buy this house for $300,000 and I'm gonna put another $200,000. And you say, wow, those folks have a lot of money. They don't have money. The government is backing their loans, SBA, and we don't know about it. Like the scripture said, people perish for the lack of knowledge. Yeah. We don't know about finances.
Wow.
We've been taught to, if you're going in business, you take 1,000 out your bank account. Aunt May let you have 500. Uncle Bill let you 500. Miss my daughter here, she gonna let me have 1,000. But you don't take that.
Right.
SBA loan is easy to get because the lenders know that an SBA loan is backed by the government. And so what I need to do is to have seminars here and forget begging people to come in here. We can get small business loans and have our own businesses. So
right.
The thing is knowing what to do. I went to seminars and people stopped me when I used to go to seminars with my son-in-law, and they stopped me and say, hey, you have any clients that need some money? My business start off at 3 million to 18 million. And I said, what? He said,
gosh.
And I started doing some research, and you don't have to have a good credit. You think you need a 800 credit score. Some loans are 600 and the interest rate is not that high.
Okay, so after we finish the whole campaign, when the campaign is over, we're going to bring you back and maybe bring your son-in-law back and maybe talk to us about how to do that. I know tons and tons of people who would love to start their own business, who have ideas and who are ready to have business plans, everything. They just lack the funds or lack the information to go out and get those. So we're going to come back to that. We need to empower our people to do that. Absolutely. I love that. But even bringing that information to revitalize the area would be great. So how do we do that? Is that something that the city commissioners do? Are you all responsible for going out to get businesses to bring back to these areas?
Well, city council usually go to other states. Some of them even go to other countries to solicit business to come to Dallas. But if you notice, everything that comes to Dallas come north of 30.
Yeah, they don't come here.
30. Now what we get is now we getting a lot of warehouses. I mean, that's warehouses. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. They get paying jobs, but we need more than just warehouses. And they go out and we spend all this money soliciting business from foreign countries, other states, but you notice everything goes to North Dallas. In North Dallas, you look at North Dallas now, North Dallas hasn't looked like that always. It's just like the last 40 years. I remember when
Yeah.
Valley View Shopping Center, well, they just told it they're going to tear it down. But 40 years ago, that was just corn and cotton fields. And they went and developed all that. See, now they run out of land, the business people of Dallas. Now they're trying to figure out what we're going to do now. So now what they're coming to do now is retake part of Oak Cliff.
Yes.
Vacant land in District 8. They're going to try to take that and redevelop them or develop that land.
Yes, I noticed that there's a lot of development taking place near what is that? Right near the Colorado Boulevard and over by Methodist Hospital, and coming down, even down past there, coming into the Oak Cliff sector. I mean, they're extending all of that revitalization down to down the Bishop Arts area. I mean, all of that now is typically where African Americans have lived. Even in the Oak Cliff area, there are a lot of places where African Americans, Blacks have lived, and now, including Fair Park, now they're being overtaken by investors and just extending some of that North Dallas now. So what's up with that? Why is that the case? Is it just that Black people are just moving out of those areas, or is this a situation that has happened in years past where they're being forced out of those areas for big money companies?
Well, the new thing is that they call it growing south. Growing south. Like I said, they run out of land, and anything close to downtown they want. Like the Bishop Heights area, that's close to downtown. You ever heard of the 8th Street bottom? With Good Street, not Good Street, but Golden Gate Baptist Church, that area right there, it's called the 8th Street bottom. They're going to take that 8th Street bottom and put apartments and stuff where people can go from right there to downtown real conveniently. And another thing that they're trying to do, and this just didn't start now, they've been trying to tell people that where I live at is not Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff is where Bishop Heights area is, all the way to Illinois. That's Oak Cliff. Now, everything else is called Southern Dallas. Or sometimes they even have the nerve to call us South Dallas. So they want to change the mindset where people would come in. We want you to develop this area. It's Oak Cliff. This is the area that's Oak Cliff. The other area is South Dallas. And that area east of 35, I mean, it has nothing, not even a decent park. Now, can I tell this little story about the parks?
Yes.
Now, everybody know where Glendale Park is.
Yes.
Okay. Almost 40 years ago, me and 8 other people in the community, the Dallas Park Board wanted to meet with us. So Keys Park, a lot of people that lived around Keys Park was basically Anglos people. So a lot of Black folks was going to Keys Park. So people was complaining, too many Blacks coming to our park. So the city of Dallas called us and wanted to have a meeting with us, and they wanted to develop Glendale Park. And this is the words. I got it written down. Everything I say, I got documentation I can say. The park board came to us and said, we want to make Glendale Park the Black Park. In other words, we want y'all to have this park over here and y'all stay over here in your little part of town. So in the meantime, Black folks start moving in the Keys area. The complaints went down. They were supposed to spend $2.5 million in Glendale Park. That was almost 40 years ago. They had the landscape. They showed us a big, pretty picture how it's going to look. I mean, it looked almost like Central Park. But when the complaints went down by Keith, they said, I hate what spending that money now. So now 40 years later, I've written, I like to write people because my dad told me that the written word, you can hear something somebody say, but if you got the written word, is in black and white. So I do a lot of writing. I write my city council, I write my mayor, I write my senators. I even wrote the president once or twice. I wrote the governor a lot. But I've been writing my city council people about that park for 40 years. I started working on this thing. I was 35 years old, and I'm almost 75 now. And that park still look the same. Nothing but a bunch of trees. The park, we got 18 dog parks in Dallas, and each one of them got flowers there. That big old park is 45 acres, and not one flower in that park. I mean, not one.
Oh my goodness.
But the dogs sniff parks, and you know what else they do to plants?
Yes, I do.
But
Fertilizer.
back to the campaign. I just want to tell the folks something about me. I've been married for 51 years to the same woman. Let me say that again. I've been married 51 years to the same woman. I've been living in this district for 55 years. So like I said, I've seen, when I moved to Singing Hills, it was nice. I mean, where old car wash is now, it was a Dairy Queen. We had Bonanza, Red Lobster, we had everything. Well, if you're familiar with the Cliff Club, they sold yachts over there at the Cliff, by the Cliff Club.
Wow.
I mean, when people at Christmas time, everybody on their street would have the same lighting. Everybody had crepe myrtles, trees. Everything was just beautiful. We moved here, and in less than 18 months, it went from 98% white to 98% black. Now, one reason I want to redevelop this area and do something to it, to try to encourage whites to move to this area. And I'm not just talking about businesses coming in and taking, I'm talking about families. See, integration has always been a one-way street. We as blacks been doing all the integrating. You know, when they had busing, we bus kids to the affluent area.
Right.
When I ran 40 years ago, they asked me, what did I think of busing? I said, if I had in charge of busing, which you don't have it when you're a city council person, but if I did, I sell all the buses except 8 of them. They said, why would you get rid of all the buses? I say, I'd find Trummer Crow, Ariel Thornton, Cullum, Evans, all the rich people, grandkids, and I load them up on those buses, and I send some to West Dallas, some to East Dallas, some to Oak Cliff. And they're going to make sure that their grandkids get an education. What good is me putting 8 busload of black kids to go over there and leave all the rest of the inferior schools? So they didn't like that. Yeah, they didn't like that.
That's a good point. I mean, that's a good point to, to at least great conversation as to why that is the case. Why do we take, a few and send to the affluent and not put everybody in a situation where everybody can benefit and everybody can be blessed by that? So wow. Okay. So that's good information to know. How would you plan? How would you do that? Would you still have that same? I know that was kind of where you were thinking 40 years ago, but is that still the same mindset that you have today in 2023?
No, I don't think it's necessary to bus kids to another area to get a quality education. I believe our problem with our education system is making sure someone is aware of how the money is being distributed. And then another thing, parents need to be involved in their kids' education. You don't wait till your kids in the 12th grade and figure out he can't read. I mean, that's your responsibility. Don't blame the school saying the school failed me. My kid Johnny can't read. Well, you've been having Johnny for 18 years and you don't know Johnny can't read. I mean, so you got to take some responsibility on your own. You can't blame everything. And if they come, now you're a principal. I've taught school. I've had parent conference. I had like 30 kids in my class, in my homeroom class, and I had an average about 30 kids in every class. When I have parent and teacher conference, I have one come. One. out of all of them. But then if their kids don't pass, then they want to say it's my fault. No, we got to take responsibility for ourselves. And we
Absolutely.
can't, like I say, we tired of people giving us stuff. You look at some of these schools, you go in other parts of town, you swear these schools are junior colleges. And then you come back to this part of town, they look like prisons. I mean,
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute, because I agree with everything that you're saying. In fact, that's probably that's a whole nother episode on its own, just being responsible, and begging parents to be responsible, not only for their kids, but for their child's education, which means showing up. But at what point do we say, yes, we're tired of them just giving us anything? But when we talk about responsibility, why would anybody give us something when we don't even take enough gumption to show up? I know my mom, she's on commissioner, as well as but I know in Ennis, she's always, right now, today, we were in Ennis, and she's like, I got to get some representation on these committees. But we can't get people to volunteer to be on a board, to volunteer to show up, to come to a meeting, to hear to even express that you even want something. Yes, you're out here voting, and you're out here running and talking and trying to get people. But do you think that sometimes those who give us are just as tired of giving us, because we won't even show up? We won't even show up to have a voice to say that we want something. So that's how we end up just getting something, just because at least they're trying to give us something. We don't even show up to say that we want anything.
Well, I believe so many people in the community are so stressed out. A lot of people are not making any money. I mean, I'm talking about, there's a lot of people making minimum wage.
I agree.
And when they're working 2 jobs, they don't have. But I believe in order to turn this thing around, it's going to take retirees, retired school teachers, retired engineers, people that have the time to do it. And these people need to give back to the community, the people that retired, because all these folks, they're trying to struggle to make a living. And I believe we, as senior citizens, middle-aged people that can afford to be on these commissions and boards and spend the time, that's what we got to look for. We have a reservoir of retired people, educated people, professional people need to go back in, just like our schools. We got enough retired teachers to have tutors in every school.
But I agree with that.
And I think we need to give back, and everybody need to find something that they can do to give back to the community. And then once we get a person elected, you know what's wrong with us when we get a person elected? We get them elected and then don't do anything to support them. We
Absolutely.
Don't show up to none of the meetings. We don't do nothing. Then when he get complacent and say, well, sure, they're not interested, so I'm just going to get here and serve and do my time, march in line. But we need to keep our elected officials, we accountable. When I get elected, if I get elected, when I go to City Hall and I sit out there every Wednesday at City Hall meeting, I want to see at least 40, 50 of my people from my community sitting there. Because see, numbers talks. See, when people know that city council fills up when it's an issue in North Dallas, it may be 300 people packed that city council meeting. And we need to do the same thing. Let them know we are concerned. If we're not showing up, not showing that we're concerned, but we got to do that, Charlotte. We got to show up at all these meetings, and we got to keep our elected officials accountable. Don't just elect them and then don't give them no support. And you can't, if he can't get people to be on boards and stuff, what you expect him to do? By himself? So he needs.
I agree.
I try not to criticize. Some of them need to be criticized, but I try not to criticize too many of our elected officials because they're doing the best they can because they don't have any support.
I agree with that. And if they were, well, and the city of Dallas is a little different from the city of Ennis. The city of Ennis, one, they don't pay very much. That it's not a salary, like it is with the city of Dallas. But also, most of the individuals who are on the commissioner's court in Ennis have full-time jobs. So my mom is retired, and so it makes it a little easier for her to, ride the streets and look at the things that needs to be done. And so you are right in a sense. People are struggling, and so people have to work full-time jobs to take care of their families, which is their first ministry, is to their family, their first obligation and responsibility. So it does take older, I hate to say older, but seasoned individuals to help fill in the gaps in that area, because they do have the time, and many of them have the resources to be able to do that. And so getting in support of someone to do that is helpful. We just got to do it. We just have to empower individuals to do that, to take the step to do it.
Well, in Dallas, it made it a little bit better to run for an office. See, when I ran for an office 40 years ago, they paid $50 a meeting. And you may have 3 meetings a week. You got committee assignments and stuff. But so you're talking about maybe $150 a week that was coming into your income. So, you got to work another job. So you're doing a full-time job, but you're getting part-time pay. So I was glad when they were able to start paying. Well, they always been able. The sign was it was designed to discourage minorities from running for an office. Saying that, see, most of the people that if you look at the history of city council, even today is a little bit different. But prior to, say, 25 years ago, everybody on the city council were rich folks.
So they could afford to be there. They didn't need the money.
They didn't. The CEO of my company, Charles Cullum, was the CEO of Tom Thumb. He was able to be a city council person. Jack Evans was the mayor of Dallas, but he was the president of Tom Thumb. So these people, you look at people, Annette Strauss, your Strauss jeans. Annette was rich. I mean, everybody, if they weren't rich, they had a business that they could leave their business and they would operate with them.
That makes sense.
So that it's better, because they used to, like I said, $50. Who couldn't go up there and you get what you pay for. You get a person for $50 a meeting, that's what you're gonna get. So now the pay is better. And like I said, I don't criticize past leaders, I just think we need to just support them. And if they're not doing the job, kick their butt out. And I say that if I get elected and I'm not doing the job, kick my butt out.
Right.
So we need to keep them accountable.
But I know that if you get elected, you are going to do your job. You are going to do exactly because I believe that you are a person. You have shown me over the last 30, it's been 30 plus years since I've known you guys. Yeah, 32. So 32 years, you have proven to be a person of character, a person of integrity, someone that again, in the place of my father, I value, what you say because of who you are. So I know that you will do a fantastic job in this particular role.
Well, can I say something about that, Charlotte?
Absolutely.
See, I used to talk to city council people, and I said, why don't you put something on the agenda? They say, well, it wouldn't do me any good because I can't get the votes. And I'm saying, how do you know you can't get the votes unless you put something on the agenda? See, right. It's always a fear, I can't get enough votes. That's how you take your people building skill and your teamwork and be able to do it. And you have to know how to deal with people. You have to deal, you got some people that's probably racist and bigots, but I've dealt with people like that. I've dealt with racist superintendent, and I did my job and I won them over. And it's just people skills and knowing how to deal and talk to people. Right. I can't get out in the horseshoe and talk about them like a dog and then expect them to vote for something.
Absolutely.
If I got to disagree with you, That's what the back room is for. We can get back there and holler and scream and bang on the thing, but when we come out, we need to come out as a united front, you
Right.
know.
I agree.
And I believe we can get more done that way than being argumentative and confrontational.
Gotcha. I
Yeah, but
agree.
I will be confrontational, but that's my last resort.
I bet Mama Betty would agree with that.
but my wife's friend said, "Oh, your husband is running for city council." Say he's so laid back and he just soft spoken. My wife said, "Whew, I'm glad they don't know you." I'm like this. I'm well spoken and stuff, but I'm like James Brown. I don't take no sugar. I mean, I would bend over, but I'm gonna be firm. I
Right.
want what I want when I want it.
Right. Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, y'all been messing over us for years. It's time for the big payback. And this,
I love it.
if it's not time now, it'll never be. My
And that's
grandfather
true.
told me, my grandfather told me one day, he said, "Son, let me tell you something." He said, back in the day, right after slavery, they promised you 40 acres and a mule. He said, "You know how much land was selling for back then?" He said, for you could get 40 acres for less than $50.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna tell you a story about acreage and during slavery. I'm from a little town called Barrett Settlement. It's called Barrett, Texas now. It was a plantation, 10,000 acres plantation. They freed the slaves, and the masters tried to sell the land, and no one wanted to buy it because they didn't want to live on the Aches plantation. So he wanted to sell the land. So he thought about old slaves that he had that saved his money while he was in slavery. He contacted Harrison Barrett and told him, say, "Harrison, I'll sell you the whole 10,000 acres for 50 cents an acre." So he
Wow.
bought, old slave had $5,000 saved up. He bought a whole 10,000 acres and started a community. And that's where I'm from. It's the largest and the oldest Black settlement in Texas.
Really?
Yeah. So you look at him, he bought it for 50 cents an acre. So multiply 40 acres times 50 cents. And then a mule one with $2 or $3. So my grandfather said, "Son, cheapest land was all the land they had." See, when slaves were freed, they gave them 40 acres and then they took it back away from them and gave it back to the plantation owners. But forget that land. We had land in Oklahoma. We had land in Nebraska, Kansas that they was giving away. They were encouraging people to come overseas, to come to those states and settle that land. But you think that we did it? We didn't got a raw deal. See, they talk about what is this word they use now? For critical race theory. Let the truth,
Yeah.
let the truth be known. We have been mistreated. Now we had a meeting with some people yesterday, and they was talking about a museum. I said, I'm sick. I said, I'm not against Jewish people, but the Holocaust didn't happen in America. It happened in Germany. So why can't we have a museum of our own? I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I'm gonna say my museum is gonna be called "The Hell They Caused Us." But you know what? If black
Okay.
people really know their history and know what we have gone through, you
Right.
ever heard of the Peach Bowl?
You
This is
know
not
what?
with politics, but I need to say this one.
Yes,
You
go
heard the
ahead.
Peach Bowl?
I have but let everybody else hear. You told me about it, but tell it.
Natchez, Mississippi. They freed the slaves. Slaves came to Natchez because they thought it was a good place to settle. It was so many of them that the Southerners in Natchez convinced the Union Army to put them in concentration camps. So they fed them, and they said, "We tired of feeding them." So they killed all of them, built a big old hole, and dumped them in there and planted peach trees up top of them. Now they say the peaches are so big, but nobody would eat them because they know what's underneath them. 20,000 people buried underneath these trees. You think you're gonna find that in the history book somewhere? In Texas school book, I need to look into this. They said that in Texas book, they said that slavery was an internship. Can you imagine that? An internship.
Well,
But let's go back
yeah,
to politics.
yeah, that is
Because I can
exactly
talk
what
about this all day.
that's exactly what they're saying, though, that it was voluntarily
Yeah.
that we volunteered. My great great grandfather volunteered to be in slavery.
We came on a cruise ship, stacked up top of each other. But back to District 3.
Yeah.
I want to tell people about me. I have a degree from Paul Quinn. Good school.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, good
My
school.
alma mater.
I've worked in managing warehouses for Tom Thumb for like 20 some years. Then I went in business for myself. I was an independent contractor for the Dallas Times Herald. A lot of people are not old enough to remember that. But see, Dallas had 2 newspapers once upon a time.
Yeah,
In
I
the
remember.
Dallas Times Herald, I had an AM district and a PM district. In the AM district, I had adults working for me, and in the evening, I gave kids routes. All the kids in my area had a job. If they didn't have a route, and if I had a down route, they'd come roll for me. They'd do something. I had a crew of kids that I would have go out and solicit subscriptions for the Times Herald. I got $15 a new subscription. I give them $7, and I put the rest in my pocket. I give them out, and they go out, and they do good. They go out some days and get 10 or 12 subscriptions. I mean, that's a lot of money back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And every Saturday, I would take a crew out, and they would make them $50, $60, $70. You know, that's a lot of money back for those kids.
Absolutely.
So I always worked with kids. I did that until the Times Herald closed. I was a zone manager. I went in the office, thought I wanted to go in the office, but I missed being out in the public dealing with the people. I've taught school. I worked with, I took long-term subs with people that either were pregnant or broke their leg 3 or 4 months at a time. I worked with Young Life, high-risk students. So I've always worked with kids. Church Without 10, I used to work in the youth department. And every school I've been I taught at, I was an official #1 chaperone. I went to all their games because my daughter was in college, so I didn't have any kids. That's what I'm talking about. I had the time that I could do this stuff. I went to all their kids, all their plays, all their concerts. So I did that, and then I went to work for the city as a code inspector. I worked in the code department, and I worked in public works. So all my life, I've been working with people, and all kind of people, all races. And I know how to deal with people. So I think my ability to deal with people is an asset, and I can bring people together, and that's what it needs. Now,
Absolutely.
I have a competition. See, usually every time it's an election, and it's a new representative being elected, North Dallas want to elect that person. Dallas Morning News want to endorse that person. When you see a person that the Morning News endorsed in North Dallas, you know that they got a person they want to buy. And that's all I'm going to say about that person. But there's 5 of us running. I'm glad it's 5 running because the more people run, the bigger the turnout. And it get more people that normally wouldn't vote would vote. Now, I'm like somebody that said this, I don't need but 2,500 votes. One more than I just need 2,500 votes. If anybody out there can help me, vote for me. I'm #4 on the ballot. I need 2,500 votes because I don't want to go through no runoff. I want to win it. I want to win it right off.
Right. So how, if someone wants to donate or volunteer their time or anything, how can they do that? How can they sign up to do that?
They go to door4dallas.com. They can donate money. They can volunteer. They can want to put a yard sign in. They want to go out and distribute literature. They want to have a little meeting at their house, expose me to their friends. So anything you want to do, just go to Doyle, DOYLE, FOR, Dallas.com.
Wonderful.
And they can contribute money too.
Okay, I was just going to ask that if they can also do that on the website. I know that there was a GoFundMe page that was out there that someone created for you, but they can also go to your website and donate money. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the website. The GoFund is in the website.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
then,
Gotcha.
you see,
Okay.
it's hard. It's Miss Charlotte. It's hard to raise money, but
It is.
people don't donate money, and see, that's why campaigns are being bought. They go in now. I can't compete with these people. They're gonna spend probably on one candidate. They're gonna spend almost $75,000 to $100,000 on this race.
Right.
I can't match them dollar for dollar.
Right.
And I sort of got depressed a little bit when I thought about the thought of them spending that much money. And a friend of mine told me, said, don't worry about that. He says, billboards don't vote. He says, people, we got eligible voters in this district. We got 45,000 eligible voters in this District 3. I don't need but 2,500. So I need to go out there and work and get those 2,500.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you'll be,
And if 25 people would just touch 100 people,
mm-hmm.
I mean, that was even more than that. If you have 220, if you have 250 people to confirm that 10 people, they can get 10 people to vote.
Well, you know, I majored in math, so I like the power with tens. If 10 people tell 10 people, they tell 10 people, they tell 10 people, I got 40,000 votes. I don't need for 2,500.
There you go.
So I just
Wonderful.
need word of mouth. You know, election can be bought, but if you get out there and work and talk to people, you can get elected. See, they talking about spending sometimes $50 a vote to get a vote. One vote, $50. I don't think you need all that. You got social media now, and what's hard about campaigning now. Used to be we used to knock on doors because see, I used to like to pay kids. They pass out door flyers. They can make a little money. I always like to make kids make money.
Right.
But now people won't open their door because of crime and the pandemic.
Yeah.
So door knocking is out. And now people don't have landlines anymore. They have cell phones, and usually they have a cell phone, but sometimes when they get a new cell phone, they change the cell phone number. So if you buy a phone list, by the time you get ready to use it, it's not any good.
Phone number does not.
So you can't beat word of mouth. So word of mouth, churches, maybe, you know, I have some churches I can go and talk to, but just to get out there and spread the word.
Right, right. Well, I know that I'm not in your district, but I have placed my Doyle for City Council District 3 sign faithfully in my yard, and just in the event.
Can I show them this?
Yes. Just in the event that someone in my neighborhood, there you go. Upside down. It's upside down. It's up. Oh, it was right at first. There you go.
Okay. If you see these red and white signs, Charlotte, you see people have signs out there now, they have their name and then the little thing here say they're running for office. And you barely could read it. See, I want my name big. They don't need my first name. My name is Doyle. I'm the only one on the ballot with the name of Doyle.
Right.
I want to make sure they know what I'm running for. I'm in red and white. So you see these signs, pay attention to them, tell your friends about it.
Please, please. Well, you guys heard it. You have been on the line with us for almost an hour now, and you have heard from August Doyle, who is running for Dallas City Council District 3, seeking this position again for a second time of running for this position. But we are just believing that change has come, and we're going to elect a person who is has been in the neighborhood, has been in the community, has seen where it has been, and is now seeing where it's going to and moving to, and know that we can do better. We can do better for ourselves. And it's going to take all of us together, to band together, to join together, to make it better for everybody. You know, my belief, we are our brothers and sisters keepers, and we as a community generate quite a bit of wealth just within our network of influence. And so there's no reason for us not to be able to have some of the same luxuries and the same types of or enjoy some of the same types of things that other neighborhoods enjoy. We just have to do it, guys. We have to show up. We have to be responsible enough to put some things into play. And just like Mr. Doyle says, you know, some of the seniors, some of our seasoned and older individuals who have the time, who have the energy, who have maybe even some of the resources, that they're retired, so they don't need to have a check, so that they can go and volunteer for some of these committees and things that we have going on. So you know, take those things into consideration, those of you who are listening, and just be mindful that your city, your neighborhood needs you. We need you. We need everyone to mark their calendars. Tell us, Mr. Doyle, when early voting is and when the election is.
Okay, early voting is April 24th to May the 2nd. And the election is May the 6th. May the 6th.
So if you would, guys, avoid the lines, avoid all of the extra drama that's at the polls on May the 6th, and go early. You can vote at any polling place. Is that correct in Dallas?
Correct.
During early voting time? Yes. So any area in the city of Dallas, please make sure you take time to go and vote April the 24th through May the 2nd. If you're not sure where you'd like to vote or where you want to vote, if you'll go to the voting website, they will have all of that information for you. That's one of the things I love about Dallas, is they usually keep their voting website very current, very up to date. So please take a look at that, and please, guys, you know, we've talked about it before on the show, just the importance of voting, importance of showing up and making our vote count, making our voice heard. And that's, you know, people died and fought for the right for us to vote. And now we have the audacity to sit back and say, well, you know, my vote doesn't count anyway, or, you know, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. Well, they don't have any other choice to do what they want to do if we don't show up to vote. And if we don't give them something else to fight against. We have to show up and allow our voices to be heard. So please make sure you do that. And when you do go vote, be sure to check August Doyle on your ballot for City Council District 3. Again, tell us that website so we can go and donate money and donate our time.
Okay, it's DoyleForDallas.com.
And that's the number 4 spelled out. So DOYLEF is in Frank.
No, FOR, for Dallas, for
Oh,
Dallas.
FOR.
Yeah, for Dallas.
Not the number 4.
No, not the 4.
My mom's is N is for Texas. So I'm getting yours and hers confused there. There you go. So let me say that again. www.DOYLEF is in Frank, OR. Dallas.com.
Correct.
All right, DoyleForDallas.com. So please make sure you go to the website. If you don't have the money to donate, that's fine. Donate your time. We're looking for people to post signs out in their yards, as well as or do you have a phone bank or phone campaign or anything, or how else are you getting the word out?
Well, I'm looking into robocalling, and you know, I'm sort of limited to a lot of stuff because of funds. So this week I've been having screenings, and you know, if an organization endorse you, they usually give you some money. So if I get some of these endorsements, money should be coming in the next couple of weeks.
Wonderful.
But this is a short campaign season. And we got the election is less than 50 days away.
Right.
And people still haven't decided who they're going to endorse. So it's at the last minute. A
Mm.
lot of spending is going to be done 2 weeks before the election. But if you don't have the money and you don't have the time, word of mouth, tell 3 of your friends to tell 3 of their friends to tell 3 of their friends. And that way I will get elected.
Yes, indeed. Well, guys, it is 9 o'clock. We thank you so much for logging in to talk with us and listen in as we talk to Mr. August Doyle, aka Daddy Doyle to me. But we appreciate you, and we will see you back here next Sunday at 8 o'clock. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so that you never miss an episode again. Again, good night, thank you, and we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.